and I'm doing this. I didn't even open the colony. And right there is most likely the reason your bees died.
What is it? Mites? Yeah. We treated for mites.
How did you treat and how often?
In the summer, we treat, this is a new hive. We treated July, August with mite away strips.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was not a good idea because July, August is hot months. Mm-hmm. And that product, Mite Away 2, is not designed to use in temperatures above 80 to 85 degrees.
Right.
And
for 7 days. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We remember those restrictions.
Yeah.
So we knew that we couldn't do it, so we waited till it was. So we did do it within its temperature range.
Okay. Well, good.
And then October, oxalic acid shrink.
Okay, so you treated twice.
3 times.
3 times. When did you treat?
Oxalic acid, just the last one was late October.
Okay, then you treated July, August.
And then not September, then late October.
Then why didn't you treat in the spring?
When they were new?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just
I thought that sometimes those things are already pre-treated. No.
No, never.
Oh, so never. You should treat.
Whenever you get bees, you've got mites coming with them. So anyway, without opening anything or looking at anything, you haven't touched it. Right there's one varroa mite, and that's usually an indication that of bad things to come. And our recommendation is every other month treatment with oxalic acid, either dribble or vapor. Dribble, vapor, every other month.
Starting in spring.
Yeah, as soon as, if you have bees alive now, we would have recommended that you treated 2 or 3 days ago. Every other month, as long as weather permits. Now, the best time to use oxalic acid is when there is little or no brood present. And that's the best time for that would be in maybe December, January, February, because you almost always you have brood, and especially with some races of bees, like Italians, you're going to have brood year-round with an Italian. But some races of bees do taper off some. Bottom line is, you do have varroa without even opening the hive. We can see that. So let's go a little bit further. You see it there? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's another one. Mm-hmm.
I think we were surprised that it just seemed to be dead all
it collapsed
at the same
within
time.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it can do that.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just say something real quick? Because I had put up, and I don't know if this could have done it or helped contribute to the problem. I put up some insulation, and I don't know if the gassing off of this could create an issue.
Gassing off.
Because of the what it is. Gassing off happens when you're using insulation. There's that factor of the chemicals inside the insulation. No. Based on your quick observation.
Well, insulation is not going to harm your bees at all.
Okay. Is there a specific...
Now, did you? What did this colony consist of? Was it 1 deep, 2 deep?
2 deep.
2. So you had another deep underneath this one, I'm assuming.
On top.
On top. Well, I was looking at your feeder. I think it's on the other side. Yeah, I was looking where your feeder went, and I was hoping this wasn't the only box, but you had 2.
When I called, they said bring the bottom box.
No, you did right.
Okay.
How much food did you go into winter with?
This hive was strong all year. It was our strongest hive.
So you have other hives?
Yeah. And
how are they doing?
all right. The other, we have 2. Well, we had 2. The other one was weak. It would kind of lag behind all year. This was the strong hive. That's why we were kind of surprised when we opened it and everybody was gone.
Well, they're not gone. They're down there.
Yeah, well, God.
when I was looking at the frames when we first pulled them out, there's like the bees were all in there, like half in there, like they were, and they just died within their cells.
That would be normal.
Yeah, they do.
You know, they tell you that that's an indication of starvation. That's not true. Bees, in order for bees to go into winter, they form a tight cluster, and to form a tight cluster, they go in head first into the cells, and then the bees pack in around them. And so it's natural to find some dead bees in a colony with their heads stuck into the
I
cells.
thought it was like a larva developing, and they just never had a chance to get out. They just kind of like part of the whole died out process.
I'm not seeing any varroa. Actually, here's a problem. That's not a good sign. No.
Oh, you mean the empty frame?
It's a
Well, that's a queen cell.
All right, that's a queen cell.
I mean, to have queen cells in a colony at certain times of the year is expected, but to see them this time of the year is not really good. It could indicate that you had some kind of queen failure. I'm not seeing a lot of indications of varroa being the problem, but we're going to find out real quick. I'm not seeing the varroa excrement that I would expect to see. But see, I'm beating. It's varroa, I can tell you all right now. I'm doing this with the frames. And look what it's leaving over here. Varroa, 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 varroa.
So they were inside the cells then.
Yes, I was going to say, when we're done with this, we take the box off and we look at the frames and examine them on the paper. I'll show you how to do that. But varroa killed this colony, hands down, no question.
Just from healthy to rapid kill in
Take
within
this
weeks,
off.
huh? Just like that, huh?
There's two ways of doing this.
Get this on.
No. But see, again, just handling the frames, you have varroa everywhere here.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to do, you need to do this so for future, so you don't have to bring things here. You want a frame that has, now I've been handling these a lot, and so you're not going to get as much. You want a good dark comb like this one. You want to take it and bounce it on the table like that, and you'll get varroa that has died in the frame.
Oh, so we could do a self-examination.
Yes, yes. And we want you to do that.
Yeah. So
see-
take the dark frame.
Yeah.
The darkest of darkest.
The darker.
Inner
you want-
frames?
Yeah, mostly brood. It's got to be a brood frame. And bounce it and see, you get, this is what bounced out of
Yep,
that.
yep.
There's 5 or 6 varroa right there.
Yep. Bastards.
So varroa really decimated. Another one you could do is just, see there's varroa attached to these bees as well. So you can do this. You rough house them a little bit, and then you're going to start seeing varroa.
Wow.
See, there's varroa everywhere. Look at all of it. It's just varroa everywhere.
It's very discouraging.
Well, it's a learning process.
I don't feel like when they teach new beekeepers how to, they don't teach us how to very well.
They don't. And I'm from personal experience. If I taught you, what we're trying to do in our classes is we're trying to dumb this down as simple as we can.
Right.
It's not a simple hobby though.
It is simple. But here's what it's simple. But here's what happens in beekeeping and teaching classes. You go to classes, they teach you 20 different viruses that are caused by varroa. They teach EFB, AFB, sackbrood, chalkbrood, all the problems, the diseases and pathogens and viruses in bees. They teach you all that nonsense. They teach you biology. Let me ask you a question. If you know if a bee has 4 wings or 2, is it going to make any difference with the bee whether it flies or not? No, you're having that knowledge does not affect your beekeeping at all. We want you to learn some basic biology. In other words, what a worker is, what a drone is, what a queen is. And that's as simple as we want you to know. But if we don't need to teach you anything other than what varroa is, simply this little parasite here will kill your bees. That's all you need to know. Now what you need to know is how to kill it.
How to kill it and proper treatment.
And that's why in our classes, it's every other month treatment.
Not treatment.
Now, that being said, whose classes did you take?
Well, he took recently
last year.
at the Greater Cleveland Beekeepers. So
Okay, well, I don't feel so bad. Because I said all of that
You
with
didn't
the...
teach those.
Yeah, well, I said all that with the idea that maybe I did.
No.
But if I did, I messed up. There is way too much information in beekeeping, especially, once you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years under your belt, then you need to learn more. You need to learn how to make your own queens. You need to learn how to control other diseases and viruses and pathogens. You need to learn a lot because there is a lot to learn. But getting started, you need basic, simple information. Our classes are geared to get you through.
Do you do your own?
Yes.
Oh.
Our classes are designed to get you through summer months. We don't even take you through your first winter. So we want to get you all the way up to maybe October. And then we want you to take, oh no, actually that's too late. September. We want to get you through September. And then we want to teach you how to take care of your bees or stage your bees for winter, which is going to be the most devastating. You're here. It's winter. So that's proof positive. This is where you run into problems because you can't look at your bees every other day. You can't examine your colony. You can't go into them. You can't, see whether they're living or dying. And so you need to learn all the basics things instead of all of the nonsense that's going on around the state and everywhere, I would assume.
No, I get what you're saying. But
So none of that helps you at this point.
Right.
Now the next thing is you need to get into your bees with you. First, you need to change over to a vaporization method.
You don't think the drip works?
Yes, it works, but does it work better or which works better? You can't do a vaporization method, or you can't do a dribble in January because you're wetting your bees down. So we would recommend you do a vaporization. If you do a vaporization, anytime you get a 55, 60 degree day, you can treat your bees. Can't do that with a dribble. Dribble is simple, cost effective. It costs you what? $3 for a syringe and $15 for oxalic. And that's all. But with a vaporization, you need to buy the tool.
Right. That's your
Is there someone that lists when to treat?
every other.
Yes, we have a calendar.
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead, get it to her.
We'll show it to
other
her.
month. Right?
Every other month.
Every other month, all year, even in the winter.
Well, you could do on the safe side, yes. And if you're going to ask me, what is best for you, if you don't know, treat. If you have a question, treat. But you need to be monitoring your bees.
Right.
Every time you're at work, you need to be pulling drone comb apart, uncapping drone brood, pulling the drone brood pupae larvae out, rolling it around on a frame, looking for varroa. You need to be taught how to look for varroa. So
it's not just as easy as taking the frame out and just bouncing it out.
No, but you can't do that if you have live bees in.
But you
He's
can maybe.
saying when they're.
Well, let me explain why.
I get it.
If you have live bees in this, and you have eggs in this, and you do this, what happens to the egg?
They fall out too.
Yeah, it detaches from the cell.
All right.
And you can do the same thing with larvae. So varroa killed your bees, hands down, no question about it. You have thousands of varroa here. And I started this out by asking how often you treat, because 99% of the people that bring colonies in here for an examination, it's almost always varroa. And that's why we take the trouble to teach you, so that now in the future, if you bring it back, there's no excuse.
Yep.
Okay. Well, all right.
Yeah.
Is this mine to keep?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And when are your classes? And are they here?
No, we teach. We don't do a lot of teaching anymore. You're members of Cleveland, right?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be careful how I say things.
Just say it.
No, I can't. I gotta be careful. You're gonna have a new class this year. Let me put it that way. It is a class I designed.
Okay.
And it's going
Are
to be...
you teaching it?
No. I will be teaching the last class.
Which is about this?
Which is about this.
Won't be
So,
You set up the curriculum.
yeah, I set up the curriculum
And
this
it's
year.
basically the people who talk about it
Yes.
follow a curriculum.
Yes.
So then that's pretty much.
Well, no.
But
But
they have to
I
cover
think
the-
you're going to have some good teachers and some good instructors. Take the course again this year. It
yeah.
should be free
no,
if you're members. It should be free. You can set in on the classes and learn it all again.
Oh yeah.
And the thing again, the thing I'm concerned about your other colonies. I would make sure that you do some kind of treatment, because if this colony has what we were told when we were doing inspections, and it's pretty much true, and I think it's consistent if you look at it over time. And that is, if you have varroa in colony A, you also have it in B, C, and D. So I have every confidence that your other colony has varroa, and I'm probably about 50% certain that it will die before spring.
Unless we
Well,
start.
no.
Nothing guaranteed.
Well, you haven't done your treatments up to date so
Right,
far,
right.
and now because you haven't done the treatments, you have possibly, maybe other viruses that have set in due to the varroa infestation. So I don't know what your bees are experiencing and what they're going through and what's there. But if you have varroa, it's not a good indication your bees are going to survive winter.
Got it.
However, I would treat, because you want to hedge your bets as much as you can. And here's the other thing. If you can get that colony through winter, you can do splits out of that colony and redo this colony.
Okay. You think we should do a vapor, not the drip?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Because you can do a vapor in an emergency on a day like today. You're almost 50 degrees. And let me explain that. The reason that I'm suggesting that you do a vapor at this temperature, normally I would tell you about 60 degrees. At 50, 55, even 60 degrees, you start getting a loose cluster and bees will fly. It's still a cluster inside the colony. But if you have a good, tight cluster, all you're doing is treating the bees in the periphery. You're not doing anything for the bees in the center of the cluster. And they're not going to break cluster that much with a treatment. So you need a good temperature, like 60 degrees, that their cluster is somewhat loose in the middle of winter, and you can get the most of the bees treated.
Can you do a vapor with the honey supers on or no?
No,
No, you have
not an edible product. So you need to keep all of that in mind. But there's ways of doing that. Let's say it's June and you have honey supers on, and I told you to treat every other month. Well, when you're going through your colonies of bees, the first thing you do is you take the top off, you take the inner cover off, and then if you have supers there, you take them off. Then prior to putting the colony back together, you put the telescoping cover on, you treat the bees, and then you take the top off, put your honey supers back on, and you're done. And it didn't get treated with the honey supers on.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
So I'm sorry that you lost your bees, but look at it in the positive side. You'll learn something.
Yep.
And it was costly, but if you go to college, you're going to pay for that education too. So this is part of your education.
No, we took the time to come out here just because.
Wanted to know. All right.
So just to So vaping at no higher than 60, between 50 and 60.
Well, I told you a few minutes ago to treat even on a day like today,
Right.
Because I'm concerned about your bees.
Oh,
and I think
right.
that getting some treatment in is better than no treatment.
Right.
Normally, if you've been up on your treatments all summer long,
Then
I would
it's
tell you
different.
forget it. Wait till a nice day.
Right, I got
But
it.
you're not there, so I'm saying go ahead and treat your bees if you can.
Okay.
You cannot inhale oxalic. It's
Right.
dangerous stuff.
Right. Right. That's why we kind
See your varroa
That's why
just
we-
rolling those bees around.
crazy.
Did you ever treat with strips or no? Do you always vaporize?
I have to do what's quick and simple and easy, and that's oxalic. I don't use even. I have a fogger, and it takes me about 10 seconds per colony. With a vaporizer, it's about 3 minutes.
Okay.
With the strips is a 1 to 2 week, depending on your treatment, a 1 to 2 week process. It is very effective. It is a good product, but again, you have temperature restrictions, highs and low temperatures, and so you need to make sure you're in those restricted areas.
And it can be with Honey Super's on.
Yeah, yes,
Right.
depending on the product. Mitaway too, yes. I was going to tell you something, I forgot it. Anyway, you need to in the future, and you're going to learn this. Get with a good program. Stick with the program. You will not lose another colony of bees due to varroa. That's not going to help you if your bees are starving to death. But if you're treating for mites and you're treating consistently every other month, you'll not have another colony do this.